We are on, right, Siti?
Yes.
Okay.
We are live.
Okay, we are live now. So thank you very much, first of all, to everybody, the participant who has actually registered with us today. I believe we have more than 100 people who are already registered, and we hope that everybody can make it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, because we have probably people from every part of the world join us today. I hope nobody joined us good night and we're midnight. Yeah. So, but anyway, welcome to this. I would say we call it MSTS Tech Talk series. So this is going to be our first webinar for 2021, and we have done it last quarter, but this is going to be the first in this year. And I hope also it's going to be the first also for most of you in this year to attend this kind of seminar. But today, I think it's going to be quite interesting and also exciting for every one of you who really, have a so-called very passionate about the technology, because we have a great lineup of speakers today, our distinguished panelists and also speakers, who will actually share a lot more very informative, I would say, sharing today about artificial intelligence of things. Yeah, this is going to be probably one of the main, what call it, driver towards the transformation into whatever you call it, whether it's Industry 4.0 or Fourth Industrial Revolution or digital transformation. And probably right now people have already started to talk about Industry 5.0, and so on. But anyway, I'm not going to take so much time. I would like to welcome again to all our speakers. Thank you very much to all of them for their time today. And I wish all of us will learn something through this session, and there will be a Q&A session later in round 2 and 3. But the first round, I believe later our moderator, Mr. Hakimi, will explain the agenda and also the flow of this seminar. So again, artificial intelligence of things is going to be one of the game changer for us to move forward. There will be a combination of three core technology: artificial intelligence, the network of 5G, as well as the data analytics itself. These are the main three core technology that will drive us towards the new era of AIoT. So without further ado, I would like to pass over to Mr. Hakimi, our moderator today, to further introduce our panelists and to begin our seminar. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ooh, I hear echo. Sorry. Thank you, Tuan T.S. Azhar. Let's just roll this on. Thank you so much for being here and welcome to the year of the AIoT, the Artificial Intelligence of Things, 2021. Okay. I would like to say thank you for being here with us today, because I know that you guys have all the choices in the world to be somewhere else. You could be anywhere but here. But the fact that you are here with us today at this moment shows that there is something that you are hoping to gain from this session, and hopefully our speakers could deliver that to you today. I'm sure that they would share their insights of what's in store for us in this next year in terms of the artificial intelligence of things. Okay, but before we move further, I would like to know where you are calling from. So if you see the chat box at the bottom of your screen, could you click on that chat box and say hi to everybody? Just type in your name and the city, not our city, the town that you are connecting from. Can we do that, please? Okay, I see Azrina saying hi. Thank you, Azrina. From Penang, from Cyberjaya. Self-employed Divanathan. Wow, it's moving really fast. I'm sorry if I cannot catch you guys. Encik Afsal for sure from Kuala Lumpur. Mr. Ibrahim from Penang, thank you for being here, Mr. Ibrahim. From Miri, I see Sarawak from Miri. I see Imran from Negeri Sembilan. I'm calling from Nilai, Negeri Sembilan now, Imran. So thank you. Suliana from Ampang, hello. Afifi is calling from Penang. He's one of our speakers. From Johor Bahru, Durga. Our clinic even from Cherating is calling in. So thank you for our MSTS clinic in Cherating. Wow, it's moving really fast. Puvanedran from Putra Heights, thank you. Mr. Wong Ken Yin from UTN Johor, thank you very much. Okay, we have a lot of people and I'm seeing this list. Okay, Petaling Jaya. Okay, keep on saying hi, ladies and gentlemen. Bye. While you are doing that, we would go on with our agenda. So, Siti, can we look at the agenda for today? Victor Nirmalan from JK Shickles Offshore. Okay, welcome, guys. Again, thank you for being here. Let's look at the agenda. I hope you could see this on your screen. We'll be having a little information about MSTS Asia, who is the host of this session today, and then we'll go on to round one, where our speakers would be giving their insights of what's coming in the next year in terms of artificial intelligence. Okay, then we'll go to round two, where we would have, I guess, a discussion on the artificial intelligence with a quiz. And in this discussion, we'll be asking questions to our speakers so that they could share more insight, more detailed insight to address our curiosity on what in store for us in the next year. And then we go to round three, where you could ask questions to our speakers directly using the question. If you look at the bottom of your screen, there are a few buttons, right? I know that you go, Mr. Jeremy from Perth, hi. Please use the question button if you have any question anytime during the session. I know that sometimes we as humans, we are not artificial intelligence. So we as humans, sometimes we tend to forget if we do not ask the question now. So we'll give you a free flow of asking question, but in the question section, you could find that button underneath your screen. Okay. All right. So ask questions, and we'll try to attend to the questions as we go along. Hopefully, time will permit us to do so. All right. So let's do that. But if you don't ask that question during the speakers talking or during I'm talking, then you could wait until the end of the session, round three, where you could freely ask questions, and all of our speakers will attend to your questions. Okay. All right. So let's move to the first agenda. Okay. Thank you to MSTS Asia, our host today. They are so generous to sponsor this session free of charge. It is part of their program to educate the public and the masses about the artificial intelligence. Like you hear Tuan T.S. Azhar mentioned just now, it would be the year of the artificial intelligence. Among the three main technologies that would be really huge in Malaysia, correct me if I'm wrong, Tuan T.S., would be artificial intelligence, would be connectivity, the 5G coming, and also Internet of Things, right? So let's, I guess it's only appropriate for me to spend a few minutes to introduce you to you, MSTS Asia. Okay, MSTS is not a new name in the safety industry. MSTS has been providing services in the safety area, especially for the oil and gas and other industries, since 100 years ago. Okay, MSTS came into Malaysia about 20 years ago, when they got their first OPITO approved training, and now they have expanded in a few states in Malaysia. They are based in Johor. They have training facility in KL, in Malacca, in Miri. Right, if you look at this chart, how MSTS Asia has grown from the year 2000 when they first stepped into Malaysia. Right, from here you could look. 10 years ago, they got into Thailand. That's from Malaysia. So MSTS Asia has expanded, but they stay true to their core competency, which is in Malaysia specifically, and in this region, they provide the integrated safety trainings for all the industry that you saw before. The industry that MSTS is in, the oil and gas, construction, marine, right? So any industry that you are in, chances are MSTS could provide you that safety services and the safety training that you are looking for. Okay, and if you look at the chart, recently MSTS got into healthcare, providing healthcare services, and I saw one of the clinics logged on from Cherating. So that's Rely on New Tech clinic, part of MSTS Asia group, in giving the services to the public and to the industry. Okay, and at the end of that chart, if you look there, right, the way forward, MSTS is embracing the digital transformation, and we see this in the internal system at MSTS Asia, and also on the programs and the courses that MSTS Asia is offering to the industry. Right? Could we go to the next slide, Siti? Okay, if you look at this slide, it's just a summary of what's coming in this next year, new, fresh from the oven from MSTS Asia. If you look at their new services, down there, Bespoke digital learning. This is a very important service that would be significant, more and more significant as we go along into the new normal, right? A bespoke digital learning. If any of you are maybe confused of what the bespoke means, in layman terms, it's customized learning, right? What it means is that rather than getting off-the-shelf learnings or package or courses from the training provider, MSTS could customize the training for your purpose. What it means is that MSTS Asia will look at your the values of your company, your programs, your branding, right? Align the trainings to your vision and mission to make sure that the training will fit for your company and your company alone. All right, so that is a little explanation of the bespoke digital learning, and all this would be done digitally. Like this one of an example of digital learning, right? But it would be more than this. Okay. In terms of healthcare, we see more and more of digital and services which connect to the internet, right? Your medical checkup now would be integrated. I did some checkup last year, and I did not even get any results on hard copy. All the results are sent to my company and to the client's company, automatically, right? So no hard copy whatsoever. So these records are being digitized and moving where it should be, right? Very efficient. So those are one of the services that MSTS Asia is also providing, integrated medical checkup. In terms of new courses, if you look at that list, the foundation of HSC 4.0 in the new normal, in the new IR 4.0 world, right? That would be the first of its kind in Malaysia, and it would be brought to you by MSTS Asia, along with other DOSH certification and training. Global Wind Organization, the GWO certification training would be introduced, as well as the CAAM HSC certification training. So I guess that would be more than enough information that I hope you guys would be aware of MSTS Asia. And so now we could go along and maybe start our session. But before we do that, I'm not sure how much how much you understand about artificial intelligence, but just in case, let me start with this very brief, I guess, description of the artificial intelligence. Okay. Of course, there are a lot of description out there what artificial intelligence is. Some people say, oh, it's a robot. You know, some people say, oh, it's an application that do this and do that. Some people say, oh, it's something that could do what any computer cannot do, right? Or what any human cannot do in seconds. So there are a lot of description out there. But I guess to keep it simple and to keep it, I guess, quite accurate, let me just tell you these two keywords. When you talk about artificial intelligence, just remember these two words, all right? The first word, the first keyword is autonomy, okay? What this means is that the system must be able to perform tasks, including complex tasks in complex environments, without guidance or without intervention from the human or from the user, right? That's the first keyword. And artificial intelligence must have autonomy, all right? And the second keyword would be adaptivity, all right? Adaptivity just means that, okay, fine, you can do work in a complex environment, but could you adapt and could you improve your performance better from learnings? So adaptivity must be there in the system for us to call it an artificial intelligence, all right? So these are the two keywords I hope that you remember. If you find a system and you want to decide whether, is this an artificial intelligence or is it just a robot, a robot that could be automated and do things. So if it has adaptivity, then it would be an artificial intelligence. I'm sure that our speakers will be touching more, and as we go along this session today, you would learn more. All right. So I guess I don't want to waste any more time. Let's jump to our first speaker. Let me introduce our first speaker. But before we do that, could we before we do it, could I have a quick poll? Siti, are we ready for our first poll? Siti? Could we have a quick poll?
Yes, actually, everyone should be able to see the poll right now. Yes.
Cannot? Okay, then fine. If you okay, we were planning to do some poll, but if we cannot see, if you cannot see it, then it's fine. Okay. I wonder if everybody could see a poll. Okay, yes, 90%. Or Siti?
Yes, everyone can see the poll, and right now we have 94% say yes and 8% say no.
Oh, okay. No worries. I think we could go ahead with the poll, right, Siti, quickly, right? So could we have the question of the poll? I guess what we want to know, guys, is please just answer yes or no, all right? Because the poll could only do that, all right? So the question is, okay, if would you agree or not with the following statement? I or my organization was very aware and interested in artificial intelligence before the pandemic. Say yes or no. So the question is, are you and your organization interested or aware about artificial intelligence before the pandemic? Yes or no? Siti, could start new, right? Okay, sorry.
Checking, it's already run. So we have,
Oh, really? Okay.
yes.
Then I just click it a new one. It's fine. Ran already. Oh, looks like I guess yeah. All right. So keep voting, guys, and I don't want to waste time. So I'll go to the next agenda. But keep voting. Yes or no, whether you were aware or you were interested in artificial intelligence before the pandemic. That was like what, before December 2019, right? If you remember the life before the pandemic, what were you doing then? Were you thinking about artificial intelligence or not? Okay, so I would go ahead and introduce to you our first speaker, Mr. Afifi. I'm very excited to introduce you to Mr. Afifi. Apparently, Mr. Afifi is the youngest among the speaker. So what happened was we bullied him and we twisted his arm to become the first speaker without his knowing. So, but okay, don't worry about his young age and young look. Mr. Afifi has a solid 15 years experience in his field, which is the system architecture, software development in embedded system, right? Mr. Afifi is the founder and owner of Asia Tech Solutions and is based in Penang. So that's where he's calling from today. And I'm sure Mr. Afifi could give you his insight from his viewpoint, being a hands-on young entrepreneur in artificial intelligence. So thank you, Mr. Afifi, for being here. I'll give you the stage to present your...
Thank you, Mr. Hakim. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for that praise. Okay, yes, I'm the youngest here. I'm happy to start. Okay, as a generation here, I think I would like to share lots of things here, what I have done here. I am actually entrepreneurs. I'm also a technical person. So basically, right now I came here. Okay, I would like to present whatever thing that I have, what I call done so far. So I'm going to share with you about what I call the integration I have done using towards on the industries. But first of all, let me thank you MSDS first, right? So give applause everybody, all right? So I would say that we are right now good time. Okay, I hope this year here will be a very, very awesome day, awesome year ahead. All right, let's do that, everybody. So you need to go on the positive years. So last year is quite bad indeed. Okay, so we're going to focus on today's topic, all right, which is AIoT. All right. So I would like to share further. So let's go to the next slide, Siti. All right. So, okay. So, this is me. Okay. First off, you can call me Afifi, all right? Short name, all right? So, I'm actually expertise on this software, right? So, basically involving a lot of application for industries, right? So, I have been various position, right? So, now I'm in this company here as a tech solution, right? Or as a technologies in Ramhat. Okay. So, next slide, Siti. Okay, so this is us in the Penang, right? So I think it's actually located in Bukit Jambul, right? It's a nice place here, right? Okay, let's slide. All right, so this is what we are focusing on. Okay, we have 4 business focus here, which is we are doing product design. Okay, meaning we make products design, right? For people also and for us also. Okay. And we also consider ourselves as a system integrator. Okay, this is our role in the industry. Okay, system integrator. So we solve problem for industries. Okay, So we do many things, right? So mostly on a monitoring system, control system, okay? So factory application, mobile application, right? So all is basically on demand, okay? We also, what I call, do also on the business development side, which is more to investment, right? Venturing, and also consultant, okay? Next slide, Siti. All right, so this is what we have been, okay, a short period of time. So basically, it's been around 6 years, okay, we are in industries. So first of all, I would like to emphasize we are a software company, okay. So we're doing most of the, what I call, system, enabling the connectivities and bringing all those complexity, right, towards to solve the problem, right? So there is a lot of what I call, this is some kind of like details here, right? So it's around, it's a numbers here, okay. So next slide, please. All right, we're going to talk about AIoT or artificial of things, all right? So I think everybody have been to the what I call familiar about IoT, I believe so, right? We are being what I call talk lots of things about IoT for past 5 years ago, right? IoT stand for what? Internet of Things, right? But now today we're talking about AIoT, which is artificial of things. So you can see the difference here. Last time we call it Internet of Things. Now we call it artificial intelligence of things, right? So what is the difference right now? But let's look at the what I call the area that we are what I call focus here right now. Benefit. Why we go for IoT, for example, right now, right? So if you look right now in the last 5 years before that, right, it's hard to have what I call a technology to get the data out from any kind of things right now. Imagine right now you need to have much more complex system, much more complex computer, much more complex kind of what I call hardware, which is expensive. With the IoT emerged last 5 years ago, right, which is actually quite trendy now, right? It's actually kind of very familiar. It's not really what I call quite weird terms already, right? So it's like everywhere. If you notice right now, everywhere have the capability to get the data out. So if you notice right now, the aircon have the what I call all the monitoring, the what I call the vacuum, the what I call the TV, all can become smart. So there is actually an IoT. Okay, so all these things here enable us to get more insight of the what is going on there, right? So we can learn what happened with that what I call it, that things right now. IoT is like getting the data from things, right? So where we go from here right now, data becomes sending to the central place. So we call it Internet of Things, right? So we go sending the data to the internet or maybe to the central place. We have more data coming right now. Okay, more data, lots of data. So we have actually go into the era which is a big data, right? Data is lots of data. So imagine every second, imagine 1 second, one data. So you can see one day how many data. That is only one part only. So this is right now we are in the era of big data. Data is become so many, but this is actually a good chance for us to understand what is going on with this thing here right now. So we are go further right now how to utilize this data further, this is where AIoT will benefit everybody. Okay, AIoT, artificial intelligence of things, right? Which is we go last time when we have that what I call the very powerful what I call process, what I call embedded system that can measure the data, which is just able to extract the data through the analog measurement like that. But now we're going to add further, okay? Which is we're going to add brain on that. Okay, we're going to add brain on that, and we're going to make it able to understand and then predict, right? So this is what we have with AIoT. The technology here is already moving to this level, okay? So with this AIoT here right now, we're able to come to another stage here, which is much more intelligent. Try to think like human or maybe becoming more better than human. The idea is that I think we already seen that right now. If you look like in the what I call the movies, Hollywood movies, like it's about Terminator, all those things. It's like basically it's almost go to that direction actually. However, we look at right now the good side here right now. Okay, we want to make it this AIoT here benefit right towards of your organization. So we're looking for how we can optimize it right through the getting the analytic trending right. And then after that, we give some more detailed foresight, which is the future, what is going to happen. Right. So right now, when we look at right now IoT, we already invest the things there. We're able to measure that. We utilize it back. And then we go further and further, which is AIoT to perform and something automation, for example. Right. To moving on, right. To control. So this is the stage right now. If you look right now, how the roadmap here, right. We are moving in right path right now. Okay. So I hope it's clear, everybody. Okay, so let's go for the next slide. Okay, so for information right now, our company here, what we are doing, we are actually solving problem for the industries. So our focus here to looking at the pain points, right? The pain point in the operation, right? So we see there is a loss of things that available. There is a sensors there. There is a data there. But it's just for monitoring purpose. It's just being there and then sitting there and then that's it. Right? So if you look right now, that data here is very, very important. However, if you do not utilize it, it just become just what I call just for purpose of reading it and that's it. Right? But if you look at right now, how we can use AIoT to focus on automation it, enhance it into the level of giving the returns of investment here. So if you look right now, how we're looking at the operation and technology connected each other. Okay, so if you look right now in inside industrial equipment users here, how we can use the data that we receive from the IoT, read it, and after that we monitor. Right, the conditional, the diagnostic, and after that, we're looking at the thing that is we call it predictive measurement, predictive analytic. Okay, which is to inform, right, the operation. There will be something happen in the future, not now. If you look at IoT, it's more focused on real time. But we look at right now with predictive, we can predict, right. That is the thing that we would like. This is a very valuable kind of insight that we're looking for right now. Which is will be optimizing, right? Your operation definitely will plan ahead before that thing happen. You will stop any kind of downtime. Will stop any kind of shutdown, right? So if you look right now, there is an IoT actually can give a valuable solution. Okay, but however, there is a lot of things here. When we talk about AIoT here, there is a lot of things that we can discuss further right now. So I would like to share with you my use case that I have done for AIoT for this category. Let's go to the next slide. All right. So what I'm actually deliver for industries, no matter multinational or SME, I'm delivering a smart, we call it smart command center solution, which is to centralize the whole operation into one place. Imagine right now, in the past, we have a big operation, right? Scattered everywhere, distributed. But my solution here, how about we centralize it, make it lean, make it focus, right? That can be utilized with a small less of people, right? So my solution here, focusing on centralized command center that link from the bottom and then to access all those assets, all those IoT. And then in the command center here, what this bringing is like in for very detailed insight, insight that present analytic and action and communication, right? A command center that can connect with all these areas, right? All these areas of the facilities, right? And communicate with any people there. All right. So this is what we call it command centers, or I will call it main supervisory unit. Right, that will connect people, process, and technology. This is my solution. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so this is actually, I would like to share with you that we have make this product here. And for information, this product here to solve the problem, right, for the industrials, right, which is, we focus here, number one is Toffee. It's focusing on extracting the data out from the legacy system, right? So this we call it Toffee, right? Inside, we focus on business analytic, right, to present analytic AI, okay, and this is dashboard system. Muller is focusing on people connected to operation. So this is like three components that we we provide to the many kind of our customer. We also distribute it to many kind of other system integrator also, and they also utilize it, the technology that we have. All right. So I will not share further about this, but I will share further on the use case that related to AIoT. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So I would like to share with you that about this use case here, which is really help operation to be more connected, right, with the people in the operation. Which is right now, if you look right now in the field operation, right, so they are required to do a lot of complex instruction, complex SOP, and then to do lots of heavy duty kind of hands-on required, right? So what we thought about, how about we propose augmented reality solution, okay, which is all stand for AR, right? So AR here, for information, we have started during 2016 already. And today we have a modular authoring tools that you can create AR anywhere, anytime, easy, right? So we are also a first adopter of this AR also, okay? So if you look right now, how this augmented reality will solve the problem, it is about an alternative to present the data out in real time. So we have all this IoT data, we have all this calculation data, we have all this measurement data, we have all these things we calculate to AI, right? Getting the AI information. Augmented reality will become a presentation to show at one spot. So basically, right now we have a two solution, which is using smart glass. Okay, so this smart glass here, you wear this smart glass, and then all these things here, smart glass here is basically a computer, right? A computer that link with the central system, right? Or through the Wi-Fi, right? And then you can go anywhere there, or maybe you can put 4G, right? And after that, all this data here already been centralized. Then so smart glass here will show all this data. But using the AR technology, meaning that when you look at the asset, right, for example, the pipeline or maybe something like machine, the data will pop up immediately, right? So there is a thing that we provide a solution, right? It helps a lot to solve also for instruction, for maintenance, right? And also for assessing what is going on. So imagine right now we can see what is going on, the flow of the pipes there, right? To show in a very nice visualization, all thanks to AI, right? AI to able to extract all this data and present in very detailed view. Let's go to the next use case. All right. So this is like use case that we also do for another kind of areas, okay? Logistic. So we also proposing smart glass solution, okay, towards on the solving problem for the logistic for container, okay? So here we enhance the level of skill of people there, which is low skill, right? Now they have all those intelligent things in here. You don't need to ask the people to be educated further, right? To be what I call getting the high level skill. You can enhance them, giving all the information out into these devices. So we are giving us numbers of solution depending to the case and also the budgets, right? So there is a smart glass here that we have actually handled also. All right. Let's go to the next slide. All right. So another use case that I would like to share with you with the smart city. Okay. This is we have worked with the numbers couple two councils. Okay. All right. So we are developing all one total solution that connecting with the real camera in the street, right? Okay, so right now imagine all the cameras around the place in the city are connected, right? through the networks of 4G, right? So we will have a central place here that have the AI engine that getting all the stream of videos right now. So what this thing here do right now? The idea is that smart city here, we want to automatically trigger any kind of situation happen. For example, if the traffic jam happen, if something robbery happen, maybe right, maybe something the issue with the what I call in the pedestrians, right? There is a loss of people there, right? There is some emergency happen, right? So thanks to the camera alone, right? Camera send all these images in real time, but AI here will looking at all this image in high speed and immediately provide the detection. Okay, so this is actually what I call automation here, thanks to AI, right? But before that, without this AI, right, the council required to look at set or 100 light of cameras one by one. With the AI, you just look at the notification. You can just look in that mobile apps, and after that, go attend the problem, solve the problem. So here I'll show you what I call some flow, right? How the interface here from camera go to the central place, and public here will receive also a detailed status, right? What happened now, right? Okay. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so this is actually last slide I would like to share with you, right? I'm going to open more things actually for the if you have any question, right? So I have what I call also a use case for offshore, right? This is involving on how onshore and offshore communicate, and also how to enable detailed instruction passed over, okay, to a device, right? So this device will be read by the person, right, in the offshore. Okay, so they will receive all those data from the central server. Okay, so you see right now there is a lot of data passing here. So this is what I call we need to have understand about big data come out here. All right, so we will have a central server here that handle all the AI here that will do the what I call guiding what instruction should be handled. Okay, so all will be automated. Okay. So far, this is I share with you right now. It's a 4 use case right now I share with you. So I'm actually want to share further, right? During maybe the third session here, right? So first of all, I would like to let you know that right now, for those that maybe not yet what I call still not seeing that AI is very what I call will be the what I call the game changer, right? Okay, let's discuss, right? Let's discuss. In reality, basically, AI will be extremely helpful, right? So it will become super smart way, right? So it will be what I call, indeed, it will have changed the landscape of the today's job, right? So I will pass over to Mr. Hakimi, right, for the next speaker to share more.
Akimi, you need to unmute.
Sorry guys, I couldn't find the unmute button. So okay, thank you so much, Mr. Afifi, for a very passionate explanation of your take on AIoT and how in your own organization and your operation, how you solve the pain points of the industry by using your solutions. So I guess if the member of the audience have any question, you could directly put your questions and address it to Mr. Afifi. If you know more, then you could contact Mr. Afifi later. All right. And okay, let's move on with the agenda. Thank you again, Mr. Afifi. We'll get back to you in round 2, where we would ask you more questions to answer. All right. So, okay, I'm very, very proud to introduce you to our next speaker, Dr. Yong. If you notice, Dr. Yong is actually of the Makcik Kiah 19 fame. Do you remember that? This delivery robot used in hospitals, assisting our frontliners delivering medication or maybe food or maybe something else that we don't know of in the hospitals in the pandemic. So this is the person behind Makcik Kia, Dr. Yong. And it's interesting, their love child, Makcik Kia and Dr. Yong, they have a child, the autonomous UV disinfectant robot that came after Makcik Kia. So this robot could go around in your premise, cleaning up, killing viruses and bacteria, a superhero. All right. Dr. Yong is interestingly a serial entrepreneur. Okay, so he can't stop just with Makcik Kia or with this UV robot. He needs to keep on going. And being a true serial entrepreneur, he is also a serial award recipient. He has received hundreds of awards, with his work. So he's everywhere. His products have been exported. His robots have been exported to Europe, to Mexico, to anywhere in the world nowadays. But luckily, Dr. Yong has stayed true to his interest in academic, still being an associate professor at UTM. So without further ado, let's welcome Dr. Yong, and I'll hand the floor to you, Dr. Yong.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hakimi. I mean, that was a very, very kind introduction. I mean, the product and the award is just not for myself alone. It's actually from the teamwork. And good afternoon, everyone. So once again, I just want to say thank you to MSDS to invite me for this sharing and also for kind introduction for the Hakimi. So my name is Yong. I'm a co-founder and director from BF Automation. I'm also associate professor at UTM. Just a little bit about myself. I actually co-founded a few other company, AI related. The other company called Tinkercad Innovation. We design and manufacture healthcare robot for stroke patient, for sport injury. And the other company is called Insight. We actually design predictive maintenance for industry. And right now we are also working one for sport. We are doing some AI system to predict and to enhance training for badminton. So today I'm going to talk more about DF automation. I was given about 5 to 7 minutes, so I'll try to cram all in this short time. And just now, Afifi have given a very comprehensive introduction. I'm quite lucky that he shared that, so I don't have to jump deep. I've touched a little bit of the surface. He has touched most of the stuff on AIoT. So DF basically is a company we design, manufacture autonomous mobile robot system and full total solution, not only Malaysia but worldwide. Next slide. So this company is founded by me and also two of my ex-students back in 2012, and slowly we grow to about 60 staff now. We have 3 branches. We have our headquarters in Johor Bahru, then we have Penang and KL. We also have staff in India at this moment. We won some awards, some IP, and also deliver up to 300 over robots. Next slide. So these are some of the awards that we won for the company. Next slide. We are expanding our businesses. In fact, this year we're supposed to focus in Europe, but unfortunately the so-called COVID came in, but it actually opened up another opportunity. I mean, just like Afifi mentioned, COVID came in, it bring up another challenges, but it bring another opportunity. So DF has not ventured to healthcare for the last 8 years, and because of COVID, we ventured to healthcare within actually less than 20 days. I'll share that a little bit more. And we also have customer in Mexico, UK, and US. Next slide. So these are our customer. Next slide. So our main asset is actually this software is a web-based IoT we can use to program the robot, and it's as simple as just drag and drop. You don't really need to learn C to program it. Next slide. Next slide. I think there's a video. Yeah, can you clear on the video, please? So this is the robot that one of our model robot called Zalfa. When we design the robot, it has to be easy to maintain, easy to service, and it can be customized for different application. In all the manufacturing, they actually requested different function, and they even have a different trolley. So our robot have to be very, very adaptable to different application. So this is in Penang, this is in Vietnam to carry a garment 300 kg load. And also the software that we have is very easy to adapt to a different environment as well. I think that is also one of the key thing why DF can scale to different industry and also to different religion. Then slowly the customer requested more robot in one plant. So this is where we need some intelligence to manage the traffic of the robot. And also for the last 3 and 4 years, the government or the Malaysia start to appreciate IoT, start to appreciate robotics. Now the robot can even talk to the door, talk to the robot, talk to machine, and they can even go to the lift themselves and go to whichever level they want. So you can imagine that this is all anatomy, just like what Hafifi mentioned early on. And along the way, you collect all this data, so it knows its own health. So this is where he can learn himself what should he do next. Next slide. So these are some of the robot series that we have. We start from Salfa. Cube is designed for clean room environment. So key robot right now we have about 70 robot in India. This is designed for automotive, for car manufacturer company. Python is designed for a warehouse, so it can carry up to 1 ton to manage all the pallet. And Zeta is a new series that we are trying to push. This is like a stacker and forklift AGV, again to help to manage a warehouse management. Next. So again, we used to do the industrial robot, and suddenly one of year we have customer asking, can we do the robot for this sushi restaurant? So then initially we quite hesitate because most of the robot are big, but slowly we think that, hey, actually the software is the same, the brain, the AI is the same. So then we scale down the robot design, and then we make this a food delivery robot. So basically when you go to the sushi restaurant, you order a special food. Normally the chef bring you the food, but now we use a robot to send you the food. And this really help them to the chef focus on making the food. Beside that, we also collect all the data which let's say food they're actually being normally ordered, and so on and so forth. Next slide. So this is just an illustration of some of a collaboration we have. On the left picture was a collaboration with the world famous universal robot cobot from Denmark. So we come up with a design where the robot arm was put under our robot. It was 3 years ago. And now we start selling to Malaysia and also to Philippines. And in the past, we only had one robot. Now we are actually working with different kind of brand, ABB, Kuka, Fano, and etc. So the right video is actually to illustrate there are multiple robots running together in one place. So this is where the intelligence is very important, how to manage, how to optimize the movement, and how to communicate with each other. Next. So these are some of the deployment that we had throughout the year. Next slide. Next slide. So if you look into all these robots, the whole purpose is to solve their pain point. I mean, number one, in Malaysian manufacturing, we hire a lot of foreigner workers where the government try to reduce the low-skilled worker. So this one can help to reduce the labor reliance. That's number one. Number two is all about return on investment. I mean, you hire an operator to do the job. Sometimes for a low-skilled job, it doesn't make sense. So we can use a robot to achieve all these tasks. And then also all data sometimes is very, very dangerous. You try to imagine to push a 500 kg load is actually not very so-called safe and healthy for a person. So that's why we use a robot to do the task. And the later one is actually the robot can be very precise in the sense of very punctual. So the robot will arrive at every destination on time. So this one to help the whole process operation to be more effective and efficient. So there's a lot of benefit of using robot. Just now, Fifi mentioned, Hakimi did mention about the Machikia. So, just a little bit of a story. This was in another talk. I have 1 hour talk on this, but I'll quickly tell the story about this. During March, the Prime Minister announced the lockdown, right? So then actually DF couldn't work as well. So finally we think that actually we can do something for the hospital because the hospital, the frontliner are all overwhelmed. They don't have enough doctor, nurses, even PPE and so on. So we start to brainstorm what we can do. because robot, they are not worried to be infected. So that's the whole idea. Then we start to produce the first robot to Hospital UKM, which is we call as a Machikia 19 robot lah. So from March until now, actually we have come up with 4 or 5 series already of a robot. And in fact, as we are speaking now, we are talking to 3 hospitals to try on the robot. If you can go to the next slide. So this was the first robot that we installed at Hospital UKM. That was Dato Siti Hamisa from Mosti. Next slide. And then we also sent a robot to MIPES, have served more than 50,000 meal to the patient. And if you look into this, this is a series of evolution of the robot design from the first Machikia all the way until the new Machikia that we have. This is take less than actually 9 months to have this robot. So beside this robot, we also have done the spray robot. Is for disinfection robot. This is called Pak Saleh. And then we have a UV disinfection robot. And slowly also because of this COVID-19, we see the increase of 2 new vertical. One is agriculture and the other one is a warehouse. Of course, the healthcare also very important vertical business that we're looking at. But now we are exploring on the warehouse as well. Next slide. And yeah, we are very lucky. We are one of the first recipient of the National Technology Innovation Sandbox. And to date, we already have secured 2 sandbox. And right now, we are just finished submitted another proposal for 1 sandbox. We are ongoing another 2 more sandbox for the application. So just want to take this opportunity for you guys. If you have not submit this sandbox, try to submit, because this is really the purpose to push your product to the client, to the customer side, to try out your innovation. And it is also the objective of Malaysian government to highlight Malaysian technology. Yeah, next slide. I think that pretty much. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much. Back to you, Hakimi.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yong. That is a very interesting story on your multiple various kinds of robots and artificial intelligence being used there. It's interesting that you said that your robot could go anywhere and talk to doors and maybe press their own button or communicate with the elevator wherever that they want to go, right? But I guess the good thing is that your robot could go anywhere, but they are not going to the toilet or they are not going to the cafeteria, right? So a lot of time being saved there, Dr. Yong, huh?
Yep, indeed.
Okay, very smart. Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Yong. We'll come back to you in the question and answer session later. Okay, let's move on to our next speaker, Mr. Afzal. If Dr. Yong is a serial entrepreneur, right? Mr. Afzal is also a serial at something. This guy is a serial product developer. Okay, he has been developing and making more than hundreds of products for his various clients around the world. Okay, and just like Dr. Yong, I think Mr. Afzal is on a good track to be a serial award recipient. One of his, I guess, invention won the award in Brussels, Belgium, right, Mr. Afzal? That's what I heard. Okay, so without further ado, I guess that innovation, I think he and his team, or maybe he himself, won the Gold Award, the International Innovation Gold Award in Brussels, Belgium. So that is a very respected feat. Okay, so with 17 years of industry experience in system architecture, embedded system, Mr. Afzal is now the Chief Operating Officer of RoboMy Sendirian Berhad. So without further ado, I thank you, Mr. Afzal, for coming here. I pass the floor to you. Mr. Afzal, go ahead.
Hello, everybody. Okay, thank you for the kind introduction And thank you, MSTS, for inviting me for this event, as well as giving me an opportunity to take one of the shortest presentation that I have done. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Okay,
can hear you.
okay. So because I got a message that somebody can hear me, I think CD, can you hear me?
Can also can.
Okay, okay, thank you. So actually, you can move to the next slide, and we have very short time to present. Basically, what I want to present today is more on what AIoT is from my experience and to the product that we develop. And CD, can you go to the next slide? CD.
Oh, I think did something happen to City? Did some artificial intelligence somewhere kidnap City?
Yeah, I'm here.
CD, can you move to the next slide?
But can everyone listen to Mr. Afsal?
Yes. Can you move to the next slide? Okay, thank you. This is only slide where I explain our company activities, because I organize my presentation uh, as a tutorial for AIoT based on the products that we develop. And basically, as mentioned here, I have been in this industry from beginning. Like just after my graduation in 2003, I jumped to start my first company in 2004, and it's actually we started developing embedded system, what we call IoT now. And those days it was not so much connected, so we never called that IoT. And from 2003 until now, I have been a part of different companies as founder and as technical director, etc. Mostly in India. And in 2018, we started Robomai in Kuala Lumpur, along with my client companies in Malaysia. So here we do artificial intelligence R&D, and we do IoT and sensor integration for our clients, software firmware, algorithm development. Even we do contract invention. That means we invent for other companies, and we do end-to-end product development, and also we have added cybersecurity into our services. And most of these services, if you look into the business model that I did from beginning, we always stayed in the back end, like here. There was mentioning about the gold medal. Actually, the gold medal was for our client. The product was developed by us, but we always stay in the back end. That means we develop the technology based on contract, and we transfer the technology to our clients. So nowhere you can see our name. And this was the business model that I did from beginning. And Roboma is a little bit different. And we also do some product development. For example, in the COVID-19 pandemic time, we developed a system called Roboma Intelligent X-ray Analyzer. And we're already talking to relevant authorities to could analyze through X-rays to detect, to suggest the presence of a COVID-19 infection. Can you move to the next slide? Okay. Like when we talk about artificial technologies like artificial intelligence, digitalization, and we have to think whether all of these are affordable to what we call small businesses or SMEs. And that's why Robomai always provide affordable digitalization services to our clients, starting from small industries, even to textiles, even for the kitchen. That means the food industry, etc. We provide AI solutions, especially this camera-based analytics to check quality, etc. Next slide. Next slide, Siti. Okay, what we see is AIoT, what we call artificial intelligence of things. It is proposed to be the driver for our digital hopes, because all of us are in what we call in negative moods uh, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and most of our businesses are down. We are in lockdown. We cannot go out. We cannot meet people. We cannot travel. Those people who travel every day cannot even go out of their house, etc. That happens in all around the world, and we have changed our hope. We change our hope to digital technologies. That means, like nowadays, we can see that this event supposed to happen in what we call face to face is moved to online, and most of our meetings moved to digital platforms. And similarly, most of the business processes are planned to be in what we call in digital domain. So by AIoT, what we expect is to have a successful business operation, and because normal business operation is not possible nowadays, so we have to come out with new ways of doing business, and we have to do more things with less resources, because our office is closed. We don't have many people to work in, and we cannot allow many people to work in our factory. So we have less resources. So how to do more, or at least to keep the same business that we had in the beginning with these less resources. So the hope is with digital technologies. And also another thing is, people are thinking about automating revenue. Now my office is shut down, my shop is closed, but how can I generate income? Because there are technologies like we are getting more inquiries for technologies like chatbot that can do automated marketing, that can do automated what we call deals, that can do what we call that can support the customer for service, etc. So these are there are ways in which we can automate our revenue. So these are the three areas that people are looking into for implementing AIoT, and thus benefit from the current scenario, and what we call benefit from the current technology ecosystem, and what we call get rid of the difficulties that we had in the past COVID-19 situation. Next slide. So giving a little bit introduction to AIoT, like the previous presenters also did talk about AIoT. What we call is AIoT is the convergence of artificial intelligence and IoT. IoT, we know, thousands of sensors connected together, connected to the cloud. And previously, one of the things that Mr. Afifi mentioned is about IoT was real time. Yes, I like that comment. IoT was real time, but AIoT is for the future. It can predict the future. That when we make IoT, the sensors predict the future. That means rather than we take the current reading, but we also predict the future readings based on the historical readings. If we can do that, we can be prepared for the scenario. For example, rather than the sensor telling that the soil is dry, we need to water, but if the sensor can tell that tomorrow there is a chance that the soil become dry, so we can get prepared for that. So AIoT is for the future. If IoT was real time, AIoT is for the future. It can predict things in the future. Next slide. For the newcomers in this domain, if we can have a simplified, if you know the simplified evolution of AIoT, it will be better that we can see what happens in the future also, how this journey is going. And basically, many years back, we had sensors, but all those are isolated sensors. That means these sensors could not communicate each other. They collected data and they stored data, and we have to get the data from the sensor or the sensor control itself. So those were isolated sensors. Later, in my early years of business, we started developing what we call wireless sensor networks that later became IoT. So the earlier the term was the terminology that the people used was WSN, wireless sensor networks. So when we had this low cost wireless communication possible, we tried to connect these sensors and integrate all the data to one particular sender, or maybe we can call it cloud, or we can connect it to to a local storage. Wherever it is, all the sensors are connected. So we had these connected sensors. So those times we could not do any intelligent functions, even though we called it smart sensors. Those sensors were not smart at all, because what they did is just collecting the data, collecting the data in real time and transferring to what we call to a centralized location. But when it moved on to AIoT, when artificial intelligence converged with IoT, it's not like previously it was not like it was not possible in the past. In those days, AI was not as developed as now. Even though AI as a topic was very hot in history, only in the recent last 10 years, in the recent years, and maybe in the last 10 years, we saw the development of AI technologies like machine learning, etc., coming into picture. For example, when I learned neural networks in 2003, there were very small hope that this could be used in any practical application, because those times the discussions were like, we don't have enough resources, we need more computational powers, even for small neural networks. Now we talk about GPT-3 with 74 billion parameters. Those days, even 1,000 parameters were very difficult to implement. And I asked my professor, where do we use this neural network? He said we can use this for like handwritten, character recognition, etc. Very small task. Now we can use a neural network. We call it deep neural network for very complicated tasks like image recognition, etc. Okay, later when we moved on to the AIoT, we can see that there are two different implementations of AIoT. The first one is like it's like the previous IoT, where all the sensors are connected to the cloud, but we run an AI algorithm, or we run few AI algorithms in the cloud, so that all the data from the sensors can be processed for a predictive analysis. That means this AI algorithm can learn from the sensor data, and it can do a prediction based on a prediction is one of the things that AI does. So there are many other things also. I just give the example based on the predictive analysis. So here the AI algorithm runs in the cloud. That means all the sensors are connected to internet, and in the cloud there is an AI system running, processing all this information. But you can see that when the technology advanced, you could do AI in the sensor itself, or the sensor node itself. We call it AI on the edge, and this is the most hot topic nowadays that we are concentrating. Like Roboma is concentrating on providing services based on AI on the edge. How to come out with algorithms that can run on small devices. How can we make image processing, very sophisticated image processing, run in small devices? How can we come out with small cameras, very minute, but they can do complex image processing tasks, but at the same time very cost effective. Can you move to the next slide? Okay, I explained this AIoT, some of the concepts of this AIoT based on one of our technologies called Robolize. Robolize is actually a solution to analyze images and videos and extract valuable information from them. We can extract from real-time videos, real-time images also. And previously, what we did was the sensor or the end node just collected the image or video and just transferred to the cloud, and all the processing was done at the cloud. And that still happens nowadays for many complicated tasks. We also do that. But later, when the processing capacity increased, when high performance computing devices were made available in the market, and also when we could trim the AI algorithms to fit inside small devices, then we could do wonderful things, so that we can come out with a small camera that can do not only just capture the image, but could process the image in the same printed circuit board, or very in a different board, but it's very near to the sensor. That means we don't need to send the data to the cloud. There are many many things that necessitates the reason for processing on the edge. One thing is security. When we are sending all these data to cloud, we have to make it highly secure, so that nobody else will hack into our sensor data or control our systems, etc. So processing on the edge, processing on the sensor node itself got a lot of implications, especially in the security, in making the thing secure. Can you move to the next slide? And one of the things that we use Robolize is industrial machine vision. Industrial machine vision is a very old topic, but we come out with very affordable industrial machine vision solution based on normal cameras. We can use normal what we call a webcam or Wi-Fi cam, small Wi-Fi cameras, etc. for doing machine vision applications. So previously we need industrial grade cameras for machine vision applications, and algorithms were not so accurate. Nowadays, using the technologies like deep learning, we can use low cost. We can come up with low cost machine vision solutions. Can you move to next slide? Another area where we use this technology is for security and surveillance. We use it for face recognition, like technologies like ID verification, live video analysis. For example, working in a shopping mall to count how many how many male customers are there, how many female customers are there, how many children are there, are they keeping the social distance, everything. So we can do that with this technology by analyzing. Another interesting thing is developing like an emotion detection for office applications. Like we could predict the productivity based on how these people are feeling. That means if whether they are in a happy mode or happy working mode, or if they are in a sleeping mode or something, that will help us. They help the managers to do something based on the data they get, and they can improve the productivity. And another one is we could use that for workplace safety, and the one is like theft detection, etc. All these technologies were there previously, not many years back, but in last 10 years. But the recent advancement is that we could do all these analysis in small devices. Like for example, even you might have heard of Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi is a credit card size computer. Even you can run many of these algorithms in Raspberry Pi, and you could do the image analysis. One thing, because of the processing capacity. Another thing, because we could trim the algorithm to fit into the small device. Another application that we do is for automated number plate recognition. Previously, we did all the processing in the cloud, our first number plate recognition system actually run in the cloud. That means the camera just took the picture and sent to the cloud, and all the processing were done in the cloud. But now we could do in the edge. One of the areas that we could apply this is like here in this application, we can monitor whether this lorry is whether the load is properly put into the lorry, if it is overloaded or if it is underloaded, etc. So what we do is, in this area where there is no connectivity, that we cannot connect to the cloud, we can only relate to processing on small devices. We can only rely on artificial intelligence on small devices or artificial intelligence on things. Next slide. Okay, my last slide is just a timeline of my experience, my personal experience from my early industrial what we call industrial history. So I could tell you how this thing evolved. Do I have time? Because we have only 5 minutes. I don't know. Actually, I didn't look into the time. Siti?
Yeah, just
Do I have
go
time?
ahead.
Okay, Siti, can you go to that slide? Other one, the PDF one. Okay. Like this is just a timeline of what I did previously, because in my when I first developed what we call IoT now, like it's actually an embedded system. In 2002, we had tight constraint on the available resources. In those days, I had to travel several kilometers just to get the chip program in those days, because we didn't have that much facilities, and also the facilities were very costly. Can you scroll down? In 2003, like I mentioned, when I started learning neural networks, and on those days, no one believed that these neural networks will evolve into deep neural networks and could do wonderful things. Because in those days, we always thought that it is almost impossible, because not only because of the unavailability of computing resources, but also this what we call the software implementations were not perfect to fit into any computational platforms. And also in 2004, when I started my first company, it's like we started developing embedded system for our clients. Actually, we struggle with small memory in those days. Nowadays, we talk about memory like 32 gigabyte of memory for Raspberry Pi. We can store all those things, but you may wonder, we struggle with 500 bytes of memory, so that we could what we call we have to write the program in assembly language to fit into that much small memory size. And later, after 2006, we saw the influx of flash memories. Flash memories become low cost and become what we call more flash memories into the market. Because in early 2003, we worked with these UV erasable memories. Those days, even if we have to erase the chip, we have to put in a UV tray, and we have to wait for about 10 to 20 minutes. And later, Sidi, can you make a little bit bigger? Okay. Okay, in 2008, we started seeing these cloud-connected embedded systems. So we started talking about, even though we don't have that much memory, we can send the data to the cloud, because now internet become like internet become faster, and we could send this data to the cloud, and we can get that system, the thing processed in the cloud. And we can see that in 2014, when we were trying to build an image recognition system, all these things like convolutional neural networks, machine learning, were not practically available. All these what we call models were not available for public. So what we proposed was to take the image, send to a crowdsourcing platform, and then in the crowdsourcing platform, people, thousands of people around the world, they will just comment on the image. So we try to use that technology, but later we can see that the technology improved, and we can see all these technologies like convolutional neural network model become practically implemented, and the models like ImageNet coming in, then all other models like ResNet all coming in, and we could do the image recognition in the cloud with AI algorithms, because we could analyze the image and we can come out with what is in that image. And later in 2018 and 2019, almost most of the projects that we worked were using this image recognition, and our aim was to make it affordable into small devices. We work on small Wi-Fi cameras that is only 20 ringgit, cost about 20 ringgit. It's like about $5 US dollars, and can capture the image and send to another low-cost platform just beneath that. That means it's not in the cloud, and can do the image recognition. The total solution costing about 20 US dollar or 25 US dollar, etc. So we can come out with a sophisticated image recognition system in small devices. That's actually artificial intelligence of things. And that's all for my presentation. And I think I don't know whether I went long, but we can hope we can meet again, or we can discuss again in Q&A session.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Afzal. Very interesting presentation. All right, what Mr. Afzal was talking about, during the days early 2000, things were tough. IoT wasn't there yet, right? All you have was what wireless sensor network. So basically, that's the mother of IoT. Interesting. Okay, so we are moving towards, I guess, CP. Are you okay with the system? Do we need to take a break? We are, I think, running.
We need a few second break. So in the meantime, Cik Hakimi can ask questions from the question session.
Okay, Mr. Martin, can you hold on for a few minutes, since I think, excuse because CP needs to update her browser. Something just happened. So in the meantime, so as not to waste our time, I know that your time is very valuable and we value that. I will take the question from Mr. Rosli Jamaluddin. He's a pensioner in trading. And if you guys could see this, our speakers, his question is, if one want to go further on the so-called AIoT, could you direct where to go to get it in terms of knowledge? What device required, how to go about it in getting sufficient know-how? Can any of the speakers advise me on this? Will be much helpful. That's from Mr. Rosli Jamaluddin. So I let any of you guys, okay, so here is a person who needs to know more. Could he approach you, or do you have somebody that you could refer to, Mr. Rosli, to go and approach? Anybody could take this up.
Yeah, maybe I can start first. Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Rosli, for the question. I just make a quick one. I mean, in a normal business, we do ask you some very SOP standard question. What is a problem that you want to solve? And then the next question is going to ask you what is your budget. So this is pretty much the two questions. But I do understand that you want to know more how to go further to learn about this. I mean, similar for my students in UTM, most of the time we're going to ask them to start small and to go further, because you need to start learning how to walk first before you can run. Ultimately, you can start with, I think just now, Afifi give a very good illustration. You start from IoT first before you go for AIoT. And then, of course, now we are talking about wing lean. In the past, I think just now also, after talk about last time we want to buy a microcontroller, similar to me, I need to travel 30 kilometers to buy a microcontroller. But now you have, laptop and iPad, you can start doing wonder things already. So I'm going to give you a bit of a name, and that you can start already. So number one, let's say on the IoT part, you don't even need to buy the Arduino. Okay, let's say you have some money, you buy Arduino, you can go for certain website called Cytron website, My Robotics. So these are the website in Malaysia that sell all these components. So this is number one. Number two, let's say you don't want to risk to buy things that doesn't work out, then there is this software called Tinkercad. This software I think is very powerful. You can even program your Arduino to link to a motor to do analog input output, serial communication and whatnot. It's a very powerful Tinkercad. So I think that is the first step you can go forward. Let's say after you've done the Tinkercad, you get bored, you want to go further. Now you can go into all the so-called data analytics software out there that is actually free for you to use for trial. For example, SaaS software, SAP, Microsoft Power BI, and whatnot. I think once you Google, there's ton of you to choose. But of course, back again, number one, you need to understand what is your purpose, what is your objective, then slowly you go into that direction. That will be my answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yong. Do you have anything to add, Mr. Afifi? You look quite excited to say something.
That's good. That's very good. Step by step provided by Mr. Dr. Yong already. So basically, indeed, from your side, seriously, you need to know what is your use case, what is your application. Right? You definitely, basically, right now, ultimately, AI can do many things right now. Okay. With the what I call the component level for IoT side, you can get it right now. It's cheap. It's super cheap. Right, it's just not cost anything. Last time you need to buy those boards here, probably 1,000. Now you can get it just 30 ringgit or maybe 11 ringgit like that, or ESP32, I think, right? It's right. So basically, right now in this today is much more easier than those previous old day. But of course, I came from the latest generation as well. Okay, so basically right now, if you want to go for AIoT, I can add on. Right now, there is also what I call a thing that you can try on the cloud also, right? Available. You can also explore on the server, all this AI exercise there. You can try. AWS also have it, right? So many things that you can explore further on that. So you need to start with the beginning first, right? Getting the data out, and then after that, for next is that how you can use the existing tools, right, that have built in all these use case analytics available. Okay, that's it.
Okay, thank you very much, Encik Afifi, for clarifying that and taking that further. So I guess the question is, what do you want to do, Encik Rosli, with this AI? Are you coming from a user point of view, you want to get IoT and you want to get AIoT, you want to automate your system or your organization, coming from that angle, or are you going into consulting or some system integration point of view that you want to do this as a business, or you just want to automate your house or whatever thing? So I guess that's important things that we have to know in order to answer your question. But I guess if you're coming from the industry, right, you have an operation, you have a process, let's say a food processing company, you pack your food and you want some level of intelligent automation, look at data and take action, predict the future, use that data to make decisions, then you could go to any of these speakers today, especially Dr. Yong, Mr. Afifi, and Mr. Afsal. They are in that business of providing that solution to you. Mr. Yong could give you a robot if you want to use it. And, Mr. Afifi could look into apps and whatever. Right, so these are the people that you could contact if you want that solution. Okay, so looks like Siti is on right now, so we could move along to our last speaker. So let me introduce you guys to Mr. Martin Muller. Mr. Martin has 20 years of experience in Industrial 4.0. He's a very technical person. He's a Industrial 4.0 thought leader. Okay. His specialization is in design thinking and creative problem solving, which is a big part of artificial intelligence. His own ideation strategy allows people and systems to create hundreds of ideas within 60 minutes. And what's about his strategy is that at least 2 of the ideas from that could be developed further to give you immediate solution. Okay, so I would say Mr. Martin Muller is a problem solver, right? His expertise in creation, in the development of products and solutions to solve your problem. So if you have any pain points, and this is the kind of person that you go to solve your problem. I would say that a Martin Muller a day will keep your problem away. So without further ado, thank you, Mr. Martin Muller. I pass the floor to you. Let's hear it from you.
Thank you for this very wonderful introduction. That was very nice. So 1 Martin a day solves the problem away. It would be wonderful. It would be happen like. So thank you, and a very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you that you're still staying with us here in this seminar, and thank you to the organizer for giving me the opportunity to speak. So a little bit about myself. I'm actually, my past 20 years, I become a technical manager, and I was doing a lot of IoT stuff, a lot of software development, components development, until I decided, well, enough is enough in this area. So I want to give all my knowledge and skills further. And I decided together with my beloved wife to set up our own company called Excellent Profis. So there's no spelling error if you can see that. That is a German word, excellent. That is how we write excellent in Germany. So originally I'm from German, and Profi stands for professionals. So we wanted to create as a part of the technology arm that everyone we have here today, and which I'm also very familiar with. We wanted to create also excellent professionals in the field of engineering, in the field of the industry, and develop the country, especially Malaysia, further. But not only Malaysia, even ASEAN as such. So that is where we come from. So we formed this very new company. So we are in the market now since operating 1.5 years ago. So we are still very new. And we have explored a lot of areas. So maybe I have not much to say about artificial intelligence, but at least maybe I have the most artificial background. So with waving flags and other gimmicks there. So that is where you see already my love for technology. So my full name, just to make this clear for some who don't know me, normally I put only there Martin Muller, because when I put my Malaysian name there, then it would be Martin Stefan Muller bin Abdullah, very long. So please, whoever want to chat with me or who want to contact me, just keep it as Martin. Yeah? So next slide, please. So yeah, a bit about our company. So we rooted our company in the 3, as you can understand, I'm a Muslim also, my wife as well. So we are rooted our companies in 3 Islamic words, Imam, Amal, and Ishan. So this one is the foundation of our company. Yeah? So we found this very valid to grow and to prosper our company. So next. So one of our main principles as trainers, as you see already, we are designing a training company, or we have created a training company. We are actually talking about engagement. So our purpose here is to engage and make our participants engage. Now the next step is when we engage, we have to progress. So I have actually this point from my mentor as well, and also from many others. Progress is actually that what counts most in life. Yeah? So you cannot stop learning. Yeah? The day you stop learning is the day, I don't know, yeah? Maybe you think about it. Huh? So you complete the sentence for yourself. For me, it's very simple. The day I stop learning is the day I should stop training. Yeah? So we need to progress. Now, this leads to inspiration. So inspiration to inspire others to follow our path, to follow maybe their own path and create their own path. So our company want to inspire, we want to move forward and building the workforce of the future, not only on the technology side, but also on the, soft skills and also technical skills side to inspire the leadership in this country. Next one. And of course, contribute. So we want to contribute to the society. As you saw, we are rooted in these values, Iman, Amal, and Ishan. So we are rooted in there, and we want to contribute to the society as a whole, to give a holistic approach in terms of training and human development. Next slide. So what is a holistic approach in AIoT? So you see already I'm not talking about technology anymore, even though I'm a technical person, very much technical, very technology loving. I don't want to talk too much in a technical perspective anymore. Now, from all the speakers that you have heard already, we have actually two components. One is AI. So AI, artificial intelligence, and now it got married, I think maybe 2-3 years ago, it got married with IoT. So now it became AIoT. The question that I want to ask you, and maybe you can go to a chat box and we can make this a little bit interactive, because it's all what interactive webinars is about. Let's share your thought. Is it actually all about technology? Do you think like that? I mean, we have heard now the whole afternoon a lot about technology. Or let me see your thoughts, in the chat box. What do you think is actually the role of the human? So maybe can I have some of your feedbacks in the chat box? What do you think is the role of the human that is playing inside there? Because you as company owner, and I saw and I use the time before the seminar starts in our virtual launch. I chit-chat with some of you, so I know some of you are coming from L&D department, HR, sales, marketing. So what do you think is actually the role of the human in all this development? Maybe you go to the chat box and you can give me some feedback on that. That would be great. Still, I want to see if you are live, or if I talk only to me. Sometimes in virtual trainings, we don't know this anymore. Anyone has any idea what is the role of the human in actually AIoT? Anyone? Seems there's no one interacting with me. So are you all?
Mr. Martin, are you asking us about this? Like,
what do you think is the role of the human? Which role does the human play in the whole concept of AIoT?
Actually, in my concept, what AI is doing is imitating humans. So without human, who it will imitate? So there is no AI.
Okay, good.
There is no AI without humans.
It's a very interesting point. So there is no AI without humans. So human is the feedback loop. So thank you, Dr. Yeong. It's a good point. The final decision, the decision maker. So you see, we still need humans here, there. Hakimi said, I think humans should define and limit the AI. So that is very important there, and other technologies. So according to values and ethics, so very, very important. Thank you very much for that. So let me go to the next slide so that you can see what we have defined a bit in how to holistically package the whole AIoT approach. Next. So of course there is in each company there's a culture. So we are not, we have a very important role even when we talk about technology. how we actually create an open and a human-centric culture in this environment, and how we foster certain kind of areas. So culture development, how the learning is actually happening. And I come this morning from a remote training session. I had a half-day training session with a lot of inspiring HR managers and L&D managers. And they actually mentioned this problem to us. They said, how can we engage, how can we create an engaging culture? So technology is there, AI is there, maybe they can do some analytics. But the question was also, how can we create this engaging culture that actually our workforce want to do all these kind of things, want to learn, want to get richer in this way. So next one, creativity. So creativity is another big field that you have heard about. And thank you, Afzal, for your comment just now. Without human, there would not an AI. So where does this creativity come from? How can we foster, how can we nurture, how can we create these creative environments as a holistic approach in the whole AIoT strategy? Technology is one thing. Yeah? How do we come to that? And when we look into it, creativity is one of the most important skills in actually the human development. Yeah? So when we talk about what can be replaced, now with Industry 4.0, there was a lot of topic about replace workforce and reduce. It's actually not replacing or reducing workforce, it's rescaling, it's reskill the workforce. That means today we are looking more into creativity approach, because that is what the software, to a certain extent, need to be created first, need to be creatively done, that actually we can have this kind of solutions. Next one. And then, of course, we talk about your intellectual assets. So when we talk about AIoT, we talk about intellectual assets, how they are managed, and how actually these intellectual assets keep on growing in a society and especially in a company. One of the biggest assets that we have is in the future not necessarily our hardware assets or our physical assets. So that's our digital assets. So intellectual assets, software, code. This is actually the assets that we are talking in the future about intellectual rights, about the intellectual property. That will actually determine the value of companies. And you see this today. I don't need, maybe I can mention a few examples, like Uber, Grab, and so on. They are managing actually their intellectual assets very well. They have a lot of intelligence there. They have a lot of market share there, even without using or having any physical assets. Airbnb and others. Next. So this one will define the culture, and the creativity will define actually the working environment that we are living, and the working environment that maybe need to change to foster this approach towards AIoT, because we need to have maybe, sorry to say this, maybe for some of you, a 9-to-5 working approach might be not beneficial anymore in the future. So that might be a other kind of working environment, a other kind of working culture that can foster creativity and bringing into a new working environment that actually we can have. Next one. And what knowledge management? So knowledge management is one of the biggest area, especially where I come from in Germany. We are facing now a very big challenge in Europe with an aging employees. Now these employees are highly skilled, highly knowledgeable, and they will leave the workforce very soon. So as you all know, Germany is getting older and older, especially there. Our average age is something like 48. So we are almost pension now in Germany. So when you have this workforce that is actually very knowledgeable, however, they will drop out very fast, how can they bring the knowledge to the new generation? And that would be a big challenge for any organization. So knowledge management is some area that every company needs to look into to contain and even enhance the existing knowledge for the future. Next one. And then, of course, the accessibility of information. So as you may know, technology is great. Technology is exciting. Somehow we still face the challenge that we actually work in silos and that we actually cannot share information across platforms or information across teams. So this is something that is a change required, that actually looking into how information can be accessible to each and every employee at any time that they need this kind of information. So next slide. So all of this we call aesthetic, yeah. So we will define this as an aesthetic approach beside a technology approach, because we are talking more and more, as you see, even we talk about technology that will support us and maybe AIoT who help us to achieve these goals. But we're talking about here the holistic approach of a company. So meaning how the company need to find new ways to rearrange and to incorporate technology, however, also to be more on a human level. What kind of organizational change is required? So we call this the aesthetic in our new working environment. Next one. So what we came out is actually 6 fields where we think training need to be created, and we created a special training approach for this area. So first of all, we call it creativity is born. So creativity is really the fundamental in this new area that you need to bring up your workforce. And I want to make this also clear. The times are gone that only R&D departments are the source of inspiration and the source of creativity. At that time is, in my eyes, personally long gone. I come from Germany. I saw this in my previous company. We had actually a department that was only hiring PhD holders. That does not mean that innovation will happen. So innovation happens actually from every employee. So creativity must be developed in every employee so that the employee itself can contribute in any kind of innovation process. Next. The critical thinking. So logical, connecting the logic together. So critical thinking, some of you might have heard this term, is actually that we not take things for granted, especially when we have data. Yeah? So sometimes we need to use our own human analytics, our own mind critical to understand what kind of information is good or not good. Yeah. So I think recently we have all seen not so positive examples what happened in the other side of the world when they are actually not critically think about information. So critically thinking, especially in a digital world, in a digital environment, or even by information that is processed by AI, will come to a very important skills that employees need to have. Next one. Then digital advocates. So what we are meaning with digital advocates is more and more teams need to work digitally. So like we do today, we are digitally connected, even though we are distantly apart from each other. So digital advocates means that they are able to live in a society that is driven by a digital agenda. So we need to move there, the correct use of tools, the correct use of digital the digital world, the digital environment. Next one. Personal productivity. So I think that is something that I want to explain a little bit. Personal productivity means the self-driven employee. So the person who actually creates and thrives his own agenda in the context of the company, of course. So, however, the personal productivity is going into how I motivate myself, how I actually become a person that is really working as a, but I come to the last point, as a little bit of an entrepreneur. So measuring itself, defining goals, defining the role that the person has and the value for the organization. So many of you have maybe heard about OKRs. This is a new way of measuring results in an organization. So it's very powerful. Google is using that, for example. And this is what we need to move the workforce to. We will not have a workforce that can be micromanaged, a standard task. We actually need to look into the, as I said before, creative part and personal productivity. Next one. So high performance remote teams. So as you see, the pandemic also for the training and learning environment has moved to the next level. Actually, we need to have these remote teams that people can connect to each other. So the digital advocates, as we said, become high performance remote teams. That means the high performers in an organization can connect remotely. The infrastructure is there, and we actually can create much more efficiently and much more effectively new projects and new ways of developing and innovating products and solutions. Next one is the sixth point that I want to share with you. Is entrepreneurship. So we highly recommend that, as one of my friends put it rightly in his book, every employee an entrepreneur. So that is actually what we have to aim, so that the self-driven employee with own mind, own goals that are incorporated in a bigger organizational goal will drive the organization as such. So, and overall, one more point, I think, is there. Okay, maybe it's gone. Yeah, there it is. So we call this a little bit a new word for you all today who are in learning and development or in HR. We call this aesthetic 4.0. So we define this as the new way of how we bring up the workforce in a holistic approach of AIoT. So I hope and I wish my sharing was of service for you in the way that it complements all the technology part that actually my fellow speakers have mentioned to you already. And if you should have any questions, I see already some of you give more and more feedback in the chat box. That is great. I will hand over to Hakimi first, and then we can go into the next part of our session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Problem Solver.
Thank you. At least I'm not a problem creator.
Yeah. Remember, Martin Muller a day. Keep your problems away. Okay. Thank you very much. Looks like on timing we are not doing very well, but I'm happy with this. We are supposed to have round 2 with Q&A. Between the speaker and the moderators, and then between you guys. But looks like some of you have asked questions in the chat box, so that's really good. And I'm happy to see that all of our speakers were so passionate in sharing their insights from their point of view, that they went over our 5 to 7 minutes time frame allocated to them, which is really fine. I like this. So let's just go ahead and maybe conclude this. We have to drop a few of our agenda, apparently, because we need to be, quite on time, because we value your time. So I guess, Siti, we had to drop a few things. The quizzes we had to drop, and 3 more polls. Okay, I see. Okay, some more response. Okay, but anyway, okay. So let's just go ahead and conclude this session. It's 5:31 now on my clock, so we are 1 minute late. But I guess Siti, I saw that you mentioned that we would issue out digital certificate to those who submit an assessment. So maybe soon Citi would share with us the link for you guys to submit assessment, and MSTS will issue out the certificate to you guys. We don't have any time for Q&A. I'm sorry to you guys and also to the speakers, but I think you could agree with me that the time that was taken by each individual speakers, they have taken the time to explain, to describe what they did and how that relate to the advancement of the AIoT in Malaysia. And I guess I hope that this session, I hope that the speakers have shared with you from their point of view and give you the insight of how this year, how 2021 would proceed with the AIoT. We've been in this pandemic, which started early last year, right? During the pandemic, and a few of our speakers mentioned about working remotely from home, and Dr. Yong was talking about Makcik Kia and Pak Saleh, the artificial intelligence and robots who helped at the front line during the pandemic. So a lot of interesting things happening, and AIoT, the artificial intelligence combined with the Internet of Things, are only the two components of the bigger picture of the Industrial Revolution 4.0, right? So it is very interesting to see how this would progress in the new normal. We are still in the pandemic. We don't know when we would get out of this. Of course, the vaccine will come in next month also in February, right? So hopefully we could go back to normal, but who knows, right? But regardless of whether we are going back to the previous normal or a new normal, I think we could kind of conclude that the artificial intelligence of things is the way moving forward, because now people get a taste of the unthinkable. People never predicted, at least for me, not in my lifetime that I predicted that I would be doing my Idul Fitri prayer at home, being the imam in my own home because of the pandemic. We always go to the mosque to do the prayer, right? But never in my wildest dreams that I had to do it at home. So the unthinkable happened. With this, I think human organizations, industries, operations need, like I think Mr. Afsal mentioned, things need to be remotely operated, maybe from the comfort of your home. J. Afsal mentioned about the automatic revenue, right? What happens if you cannot go to work? Your people cannot go and run your operation. What happens? So that's where artificial intelligence, the IoT, Internet of Things come together and could help you to get automatic revenue even though you cannot work, right? So before I conclude, Citi has shared with us the link to the assessment. So please participate in that assessment. And the link also, Citi has just shared the link. If you want to get in touch with our speakers, please click that link and you could reach any one of our speakers, Mr. Afifi from Penang, Dr. Yong, the Makcik Kia 19, behind the Makcik Kia 19, Mr. Afsal, and Mr. Martin Muller. All right, so you could reach them, just get to that link and we'll make sure that they would get your questions if you have further questions. So before we conclude, I would like to give maybe 1 minute to each of our speakers to say bye and to just give their final message. I saw a message from Mr. Afsal about digitalization is not always difficult and costly, right? He mentioned that in his And also, I think Dr. Yong mentioned that his company is looking at all kinds of industry, is serving all kinds of industry, from the small and medium to maybe small operations. These people, they are the experts in system integration, embedded systems, system architecture, you name it. They would have something customized for you, or maybe they want to call it bespoke artificial intelligence, customized to your need. Okay, so final words. Maybe give yourself no more than 1 minute. I would give final words. Mr. Afifi, do you have any final word for our audience before we say bye? Mr. Afifi?
Yeah. I would say, well, everybody need to be in this together with this AIoT, not just what I call the software people. Okay, AIoT is going for software. However, everybody should join together, right? Be a part with it. Okay, because who knows that what will happen in the next future. Okay, so I think if you look at right now in the overseas, right, in the big company, you can look at it right now. Google, Facebook, Apple, Microsoft, they are working very hard to be in this market, right? So we need to also be with the part with this. Malaysia can do that, right? So we need to also take also opportunity to learn the listening technology, all right, and then try to make use of it, because with the AI that one, it is endless possibility, right? So right now it's like, I would say it's like ultimate thing that human have created right now. So right now, what we need to do is that using it, utilize it, try to explore further. So that is for my side right now. Explore it until what I call, you don't have more chance to do that. All right. So that's it for my side. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Afifi. Thank you very much, Mr. Afifi, for being here with us. I'll pass it to Dr. Yong to say your final word.
Yeah, thanks, Hakimi. I think my message would be quite straightforward. Just do it. I mean, in the past, it was very difficult to do this AI and stuff. I still remember 20 years ago when I did my Bachelor of Mechatronics, I learned neural network. I basically need to come up with all the algorithm right into Visual Basic at that time. It was challenge. But now it's a matter of just a click of a button, you can have all this done. So try start small first. I mean, like my company, although we provide AI to other customer, but in our stuff, we actually do very simple thing. For instance, we open the door, we actually measure how many times the door being open and closed, the aircon and whatnot. So all this can be done. When you start understand the basic and fundamental of the IoT, then the II, the benefit, then slowly you can see the bigger potential. Very important message here is that AI only work with big data, and big data only come over the time. Means that the more data that you have, the more valuable your data is. So you need to start working now. Because let's say after 10 years only you start, your data is not valuable at all. If you have a 10 years data, then you start to analyze it, then the data going to be very, very valuable. So my simple message, just do it. Data is valuable. It's actually berkadar terus with time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yong. I'm sure the audience all agree, Dr. Yong, that we know that you are a serial entrepreneur and a serial award recipient, but we hope that you would be a serial webinar speaker moving forward to educate our people and the industry more on this artificial intelligence. Dr. Yong?
Thank you. In fact, this Sunday I have another talk, and the next week as well. Thank you.
Dr. Yong is busy, very busy. Thank you very much for being here. Okay, let's go to Encik Afsal to hear what his message would be before he say bye.
My message I already put in the chat is the same as like this. People always think digitalization is very difficult and it's only for big companies. But even if you are if you are running a street side food shop, or if you are running a multi-billion chip foundry, digitalization can help you, and actually is evolving. That means if you are not coming into this, you will be out of this business. You can see now Food Panda is also even street food what shops also have this food panda service. That means the digitalization is penetrating to the lowest level of business. And if you are running a business, or if you are part of a business, or if you are a student, in the future you will be a part of some sort of business. So you have to see what is happening around the world, or you will be out of this what we call this channel. What I'm telling always as a parent, you should always look into your kids, because this Roma actually started with some AI training for school students. That means if we don't tell them that this is going to happen in the future, sometimes most of our students will be dreaming of a future career, but we don't know when they are out of their academy whether that job will be available for them. So everyone should be a part of this what we call this movement in one way or another. That's all.
Okay, thank you very much, Encik Afzal. Okay, we'll go last but not least. I'll let Mr. Martin Muller to say bye. And
So thank you. And my final words would be more of, I agree with all of my fellow speakers here in terms of digitalization is not that challenging anymore. It has evolved and improved over the last few years. Look into a more holistic approach, of your company, foster these traits that I shared with you just now. There is a huge demand in the future, especially when you look into the traits such as knowledge management, working culture, working environment. All this I personally feel need really to transform as well. It is not done that we have only technology. We human, we need to change as well. Otherwise, if we don't change, if we don't bring up new skills and new developments and foster this as a company, we will have challenges. As I said, I was a technical manager for many, many years. I have encouraged all in this field, and I wish you all the best. And if you need some support, contact us, and we can support you in this way. How to actually transform your culture and your company on this other level as well. Thank you.
thank you very much, Martin. Okay, so we thank you, our speakers. And I would like to also thank you, MSTS Asia, for their generosity hosting this event. So I think the final word that I would like to say to all of us before we leave this session is that artificial intelligence of things, it is not just an option anymore. I think most organization needs this in order to be sustainable, right? Like we've heard our speakers was telling us about all these stories and narrative about the use and how to be competitive and things. So moving forward this year, right, we would see more and more of artificial intelligence being used by many, many companies. Okay, so again, thank you, MSTS Asia, for hosting this, and I would maybe pass this to TS Azhar to close this session.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hakimi. And also, again, thank you to all our distinguished speakers, panelists, as well as thank you very much to all the participants who have actually participated, and also attending this seminar. So again, as I mentioned at the opening, this is going to be our quarterly tech talk series for MSTS. So we hope to see all of you again 3 months from now. But I also have my final word to probably before I end the session. To me, the sky is no longer the limit, but the limit is how much we can innovate, whether or not we are creative enough to take the opportunity that we have today. technology is not the real challenge anymore, but the real challenge is how we apply the knowledge that we gain today. Yeah. So that's a way to move forward. Don't stay in our comfort zone. Don't feel complacent with what we have. We have a lot of, I would say, expertise out there that can assist every one of you if you come from various industry and do not know how to start, your new journey and so on. Do not feel so worried about it because there are so many experts like all our panelists here. They are here to help you, to assist you, because you do not need to reinvent the wheel, because it will take longer time. So we are running short of time. As far as country is concerned, as far as the company is concerned, we are competing with so many players out there. So whoever can disrupt the market with a new way of doing things, you will be the winner. So that's the game changer. So with that, I would like to really thank again to all of you, and we hope to see all of you again in next series of Tech Talk series. And of course, we will bring probably different speakers, and also different topic. So thank you to the organizer who organized this, and also, of course, the key player behind the scene. So again, we'll see you again, and everything. Wish you all the best. Thank you very much, and see you again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye, guys. Thank you. Have a safe day. Follow the SOP. Bye bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Akimi.
Thank you.
Bye bye.